Well, hi there, warm welcome. You're watching Decoding Now and I'm Meghna Rekha. Well, viewers, Gen Z has often been dismissed with very easy labels. You call them entitled, you call them impatient, you call them distracted, even indifferent. Well, time and again, this very generation has found itself at the receiving end of stereotypes and sweeping judgments. But over the past few weeks, it seemed like it was time for redemption. The country witnessed a very different picture of what Gen Z really stands for. It was a generation which occupied the streets, mobilized campuses, challenged authority and sustained a protest movement that ultimately culminated in the resignation of the Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, demanding accountability and managing to get it. And yet, despite all of that, you have actor and BJP MP Kangana Ranaut, who calls Gen Z crass, obscene, ugly, and also other words such as entitled, jobless, useless. Of course, Gen Z has given her a masterclass on Maryada. We'll tell you how Gen Z is reacting to Kangana Ranaut after this attack that she's unleashed on them. But tonight on Decoding Now, we are going to ask, when an elected representative labels an entire generation, where should the line be drawn? Crass. That's how Kangana Ranaut chose to describe an entire generation. But on Decoding Now, we are going to go back and tell you what are the three big questions that we are going to be asking. On Decoding Now, we are going to ask three questions which we are going to be putting out on your screens, which just we put out, about if Gen Z is all about scrolling or about shaping India. If it is entitled or it is enterprising. If it is generation gutter or is it a game changer? We're asking you these questions because there have been words such as crass being used against them. Kangana Ranaut has called them crass. Choose to describe an entire generation with these four alphabets put together. But these are the very protesters she was referring to. The same protesters at Jantar Mantar who offered roses to the very police officers who had earlier lathi charged them. That's what Gen Z is all about. They are obscene, said Kangana. But these are the very protesters that she is talking about. Young demonstrators in Bihar and Bhopal, I beg your pardon, who danced as water cannons were turned on to them. They turned into a crackdown, an act of defiance, where they danced to water cannons. That's what Gen Z apparently stands for, because these actions speak much louder than words. Kangana Ranaut has also called women of Generation Z ugly. But this woman on your screens, Ria here, has become the image of defiance. There are many who are calling it India's Tiananmen Square moment, where one woman in Mumbai stood before a police van and stopped it with one hand. This moment that you can see on your screens has gone viral across social media. In fact, Ria here, that lady that you can see on your screens, she's going to be joining us in a short while from now. But she is the picture of Gen Z. So we ask, is she crass? Is she obscene? And is she useless and jobless? Some of the choicest words used by Kangana Ranaut against a generation which today she has become the epitome of. Well, let's tell you a bit about the remarks posted on Instagram that have landed BJP MP Kangana Ranaut in the eye of a political and a Gen Z storm. There are comments, many of them has described as sweeping, insulting, deeply dismissive of an entire nation. She said they are gutter level and obscene, that they are jarring and crass in speech. Kangana Ranaut also says, who's raising them? It's appalling the way that they have been birthed and raised, saying that it's appalling that Gen Z women are, that they are ugly and they are corrupt, that they are flaunting their freedom and their body count. Well, listen in to what Kangana Ranaut had to say after her original comments went viral on social media. This is what she said in her defense, and her defense actually made it far worse.
किस तरह के स्टूडेंट हैं, इनके खुद की तो हैसियत नहीं है अफोर्ड करने की। 16 ईयर ओल्ड से जो है हम अपना करियर बना रहे हैं, माता पिता पर कभी बोझ बनकर नहीं रहे।
तो ये रील मैं मीडिया के बंधुओं के लिए बना रही हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने कुछ प्रोटेस्टर्स को जो कि गटर छाप अनैतिक अश्लील बिहेवियर सड़क पर बच्चों के सामने, बुजुर्गों के सामने, महिलाओं के सामने डिस्प्ले कर रहे थे, उसको नॉर्मलाइज करने से मना किया है कि वी डू नॉट एक्सेप्ट दिस इन दिस सोसाइटी। तो मीडिया जो है मेरे खिलाफ गैंगअप कर रही है। डिसिप्लिन में रहना या मर्यादाओं में रहना कोई चॉइस नहीं है। भौंडा प्रदर्शन तो हर कोई करना चाहेगा, लेकिन अगर आपको समाज में रहना है और संविधान के हिसाब से आपको चलना पड़ेगा, जिसका मतलब है कि आपकी आजादी वहां खत्म हो जाती है जहां मेरे नाक और कान शुरू होते हैं।
Very articulate there. Well, Kangana's remarks have drawn very sharp criticism. Among those hitting back are the CJP spokesperson, specifically Saurabh Das, who chose sarcasm over outrage. He responded to Kangana's comments against him. Das jokes that perhaps, and remember, Kangana Ranaut had spoken about him when she was asked about him. She said he is useless and jobless. Maybe he should get a job. To which, when Saurabh Das was asked, he said perhaps because he looks like a young Hrithik Roshan, that Kangana doesn't seem to like him too much. He quipped that maybe that explains her remarks. But beyond the sarcasm, he also made a very serious appeal, saying that public discourse should be driven by conversation, not personal attacks, and that those in public must speak with dignity and maryada. Saurabh Das went a step further. He argued that Kangana's remarks were so extreme that they didn't reflect the conduct expected of a mentally stable public representative. Kangana, after all, is a parliamentarian. Even CJP's founder, Abhijit Dipke, echoed the criticism, saying Kangana's statements have become so controversial that, in his view, few people take her seriously anymore. Listen in.
These words don't seem of a person who's mentally stable, because you wouldn't use this kind of language about the young. Like if there's a young person in your family who belongs to the Gen Z or Gen Alpha or whatever, would you use such language against them? Her own party members don't take her seriously. There are videos of her from her constituency where she is meeting the people of her constituency and saying that आप लोग तो बहुत काम कराते हो, मुझे तो लगा था कि MP बन के ज़्यादा काम नहीं होगा, लेकिन यहाँ पे तो मुझे रोज काम करना पड़ रहा है. So that's the kind of seriousness with which she sees her own work. Like we said before, anybody who wants to take credit, anybody who wants to take fame from the current movement, they are free to do so, and so is Kangana.
अगर देश के डेमोक्रेसी की लड़ना जनरेशन खराब करना है, अगर सरकार से सवाल करना क्या कौन सा वर्ड है वो
खराब कर रहे हैं संस्कृति
अगर डेमोक्रेसी के लिए लड़ना संस्कृति खराब करना है, अगर सरकार से सवाल करना संस्कृति को खराब करना है, अगर अपने फ्यूचर के लिए लड़ना संस्कृति को खराब करना है, और अगर अपनी पढ़ाई के लिए लड़ना संस्कृति को खराब करना है, तो हम संस्कृति खराब कर रहे हैं.
Well, in fact, the outrage has now moved well beyond social media. The anger over Kangana Ranaut's remark has now spilled onto the streets, with protests now erupting in several parts of the country. In Madhya Pradesh, you can see the visuals there. Mahila Congress workers staged a fiery demonstration, burning Kangana's effigy and demanding action against BJP MP, accusing her of insulting an entire generation. But there is another interesting story. In Uttar Pradesh, the protest even produced a moment which quickly went viral. You can see that on your screens. Just as demonstrators were about to send Kangana Ranaut's effigy on fire, a policeman intervenes. You can see him on your screens. The police intervene. In fact, one of the police officers snatched the effigy, and there you have him. He's running off with the effigy before Kangana's effigy is burned. And you have a lady from Mahila Congress who's chasing that policeman down. We are going to show you that entire sequence full frame, so that you'll be able to see it. A police officer who stopped the burning of the effigy. They were about to burn it. They lit a fire. The police officers rushed in. And then you can see the way one of them runs off. A police officer literally runs off with Kangana's effigy, and there is a woman who's going to be chasing him as well. So these are some of the viral videos. There you have it. This man runs off with the effigy of Kangana, and another woman in hot pursuit after that. But anyways, let's move on. Let's tell you about the backlash. Well, the backlash on social media hasn't stopped at her recent remarks. Netizens have unearthed older videos of Kangana Ranaut, with many of them arguing that they expose a striking contradiction in her own narrative. One clip in particularly has gone viral in which Kangana candidly recounts how she had a very troubled childhood, how she ran away from home to pursue her dream of becoming a movie star. Now, we stand with everyone who's had a tough upbringing. But the point is Kangana now forgetting how difficult it is to be young and challenged? Well, watch this.
जैसे ही मैं घर से भागी 1.5-2 साल में मैं एक फिल्म स्टार थी, एक ड्रग एडिक्ट थी। मेरी ज़िंदगी में इतने सारे कांड चल रहे थे कि मैं ऐसे लोगों के हाथों में लग चुकी थी कि जहाँ से मुझे शायद मौत ही निकाल सकती थी। ये सब इतना सब डेंजर हो चुका था मेरी लाइफ में जब मैं टीनेजर ही थी अभी। सोच लो मैं कितनी खतरनाक हूँ।
Well, this of course is an earlier soundbite of what Kangana Ranaut has said. Many said that she seems to forget how difficult it is to grow up in a difficult world. That is why the Gen Z today are fighting. In fact, this is far from the first time that Kangana Ranaut has found herself at the center of a controversy. Let's remind you, over the years, remember, she has repeatedly made very provocative and headline-grabbing remarks that has always kept her as controversy's favorite child. Remember, in 2024, during the farmers' protests, she came out and said, these aren't farmers who are protesting, they are actually terrorists. Then you had her go on to say that foreign forces are the ones who are destabilizing India in the name of a farmer protest, completely dismissing the entire protest, which at the end of it, the 3 farm laws were revoked by the center. So they brought about exact change, but despite that, Kangana said these are not farmers, these are terrorists. Then in 2021, Kangana, when she was asked about Independence Day, she said 1947, freedom was a bheek. Bheek mein mili thi freedom. India got real freedom only in 2014, what Kangana Ranaut said. Then in 2020, during Maharashtra encroachment drive, when you had the BMC bulldozers bulldoze a part of the illegal construction on her land, she said Mumbai has become like POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Then during the years 2017 to 22, she took on Bollywood as well. She said, Ranveer is a serial skirt chaser, that Hrithik Roshan, she referred to him as her silly ex. And then you had her calling Karan Johar the flag bearer of nepotism. Kangana is not someone who shies away from speaking her mind. But is Kangana now someone who's been sent to the parliament to represent people, the very same people who feel, don't malign us, don't degrade us, don't ridicule us, you should represent us. Anyways, beyond the politics and the outrage, what do the very people at the center of this controversy have to say? Which is why we stepped onto the street and asked the Gen Z, what do you think about what Kangana has said? And what is your message for Kangana Ranaut? This is what they have to say.
मैं पहले तो ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि कंगना रनौत को पहले जब वो आई थी बीजेपी में, सो वी ऑल थॉट कि ये कितनी अच्छी हैं, ये जेनजी को रिप्रेजेंट करेंगी, इंडिपेंडेंट हैं, तो इनकी थोड़ी जो विचारधारा होगी वो अलग होगी पहले के लोगों से. बट इन्होंने ये जो बयान दिया है आफ्टर दिस सीजेपी प्रोटेस्ट, इट इज सो डिस्गस्टिंग एंड आई डोंट थिंक कि ये बिल्कुल भी ये जो इनका पोस्ट है वो रहने लायक है. इनको तुरंत हटा दीजिए. द थिंग इज she is not even a homemaker herself, and she is saying that the Gen Z women out there, they are gutter chap. मतलब कैसे?
कोई चीज़ ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए, जो वो बनी है आज, जो वो हैं, लाइक वो जो अपने आप को रिप्रेजेंट कर रही हैं, वो हम लोगों की वजह से है वो, तो उनको इतना लाइक डिमीनिंग तो नहीं बोलना चाहिए.
अब इनकी आज़ादी इनके लिए 2014 में हुई है, अब हम देशवासियों के लिए तो 1947 में हुई है. तो ये बयानबाजी ये हाईलाइट होने के लिए करती है, बाकी इनका कुछ ऐसा कुछ है नहीं.
I feel like after it's the old age hitting her, but also being a woman herself, I feel like by making these statements, she's just herself supporting misogyny. I mean, the same feminism movement, the same things when you have been doing, you feel like it has been good for you. But at the same time, now by making these statements, you are stopping those pathways for others. You made a great career for yourself. You won 2 national awards. Congratulations to that for you. But at the same time, who are you to make remarks that women won't be enough, are ugly enough to even be homemakers?
As she's being a standing politician for the state right now, and these statements just shows that she means she needs to do better as a politician, because no matter what her opinions are, but bringing women down at every step is not someone which is expected from someone who is an MP of Indian state.
Well, let me put across that question to two of our panelists. Joining us today on the show, we have Raman Malik, a political analyst. Ria Ahir is also joining us. Now, Ria Ahir is the same model, remember, who stopped that police van with one hand. We are going to put that visual of her stopping the police van with one hand, and which is why she has now become the face of Gen Z. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us here on the show. Ria, I'm going to be starting from you. Many people in Gen Z feel that you are the true embodiment of what they want to stand for, of what they expect the youth to be standing for, what their message to those in power are. But today, when you and your generation are being called gutter chap, of being called useless, jobless, and also crass and obscene, what would you like to say to Kangana Ranaut?
It's sad what she's going through. It's really sad. Imagine someone as a, such a strong woman, like when she took a stand against the Bollywood mafia, I was like, that's my girl. You go, girl. We got you. And now when she is dividing us, polarizing the Gen Zs and calling Hindu girls, calling, slut-shaming them about the body counts, it's deeply saddening, It's sad because we don't know what exactly is going on, but what would make her pass such statements? My heart goes out to her.
Did you expect a bit more from Kangana Ranaut, because she herself was a trailblazer? I remember at a time when no one would speak about nepotism in Bollywood, she was very vocal about it. She is someone who said that I'm going to stand up to those in power and authority. And when she went to the parliament, everyone saw it as a ray of light, as a breath of fresh air. Do you feel let down more so because of that?
Yeah, I think Delhi is polluted. Maybe that's why there's no breath of fresh air there. Genuinely, I don't understand what to make of this. There's so many issues going on, but when they can't defend what's happened to the students, they'll try to divert us with such things. Because only yesterday, I won't name who that is and which party she belongs to, but it will be very obvious. She posted on Facebook, and with one of the female athletes, she compared her to me. First of all, comparing two ladies is like, why are you doing that? And second of all, sorry, on national television, I'll have to say this, but I'll have to call out the behavior. It's not okay because you have a party card, that doesn't make it fine. You know what she said? It's very shameful. She said that, I will read it out to you actually, that there is this athlete which is winning, silver for us. And on the other hand, she called me a chhapri, selling her body parts online for 149 rupees, and you are appreciating her. And this, she tagged me, my profile, with a screenshot.
I'm sorry for that.
She's a women's leader and she's saying that about me. So if you abuse, you can call it out. But abuse is not the answer. Two wrongs don't make a right.
I'm sorry that you have to face this. I'm really sorry that you get trolled in this manner. Raman Malik, is there any excuse? This is a generation which forced the government to act, and they did it in their own way. We may not be able to understand. I am not Gen Z either. I don't understand a lot of things about them. I don't even understand their lingo. But at least we can appreciate them. Is that too much to ask, Raman Malik?
I hope I would not be interjected in between. I've been listening to everything and the package and everything for the last 15 odd minutes or more. Now, let's come to the core issue. Did Kangana say to everybody? No. It is a very clear, I've read, I've seen, I have scrutinized each and every part of that statement, the first and the second. It is only about those who have crossed the limit and the sanctity of protest. It is not for every kid. If you have somebody who is using the abusive language that was used for my armed forces, for my uniform, and I believe, Ria, you come from a family which wears a uniform, right? So I have seen the life. My brother is an ITBP. So you hope you will understand what I'm about to say. When my people in the forces, they go and sit down at a post at 16,000 feet above the sea level with minus 50 degrees temperature, they are not there to get abuse. And they're not there to be shown gestures of fingers. They're not there to be shown gestures of calling this curse words. They're not there for that. And believe me, you guys have not done anything compared to them. They are respected and we can give anything of our life for them. That is number one. Number two, when you call a 75-year-old person with those adjectives that they were done, I don't believe those are students. Those are gundas. They are people who've been cultured and groomed wrong, and they only need one thing: to be put down into their own places. When they proudly say they are cockroaches, and we must also know that cockroaches are found in gutter only. They are not found in the households, in the drawing rooms. Right. Third, most important point, which we have to understand. In this protest, I did not see one statement, which suggested what should be done to prevent leakages, what should be done to improve the status of education, what should be done to improve the culture, what should be done to improve the whole scenario where the children get their rights. We have not seen anything of those aspects. All that we saw was filthy politics. When Chandrasekhar Azad Ravan comes and says that 10,000 people would be sent and eat baja dunga, when Samajwadi Party does it, when all political forums come and do it, when Congress does it,
Raman Malik, I think you've had your say. I've given you more than enough time. This is an explainer kind of a show. 15 minutes of explaining without politics in it. That was exactly what we were going for, and that is what we have done. But since you insist on bringing in politics, since you bring in forces, I have a couple of questions for you. What do you call forces who fire pellets at unarmed students?
They are upright.
Upright? What do you call a parliamentarian who mocks and generalizes an entire generation?
Have you already done the...
I'm asking you a couple of questions. Please answer them. I'd appreciate an answer.
Are you the Supreme Court of India? No. Are you the Supreme Court of India?
The Supreme Court of India has also made it very clear.
Has the judgment
Supreme Court of India doesn't ask questions. I am part of the media and I'm going to ask questions. You may not like my questions. I understand that. You may be uncomfortable with my questions, but you cannot deny me the right to ask you a question. What do you call those who fire rubber bullets or pellets at unarmed protesters? What do you call a police officer who slaps a girl?
Who were armed with stones, who were armed with taking abusive
what do you call a senior police officer who slaps a girl who's standing on the side of the road without provocation? Raman Malik.
They must be interrogated the whole... See, there's a departmental inquiry happening. There is a process. That process is already underway.
The process is for the forces, but you wouldn't give the Generation Z their due processes as well. Ria Ahir, what would you like to say to Raman Malik?
Sir, when you said that that you did not see any of us holding something saying that what should be done to prevent leakage, is it our job? Is this our job? To give suggestions.
Is it their job to give the solution, Raman Malik, to paper leak, or is it
then
the government?
What are these people doing in the parliament? Why are they there? Then we should be in the parliament saying, no, that's unparliamentary language.
I said, again, this is a subjective...
But who decides?
This is a
That's precisely the point.
Then you have
Should Kangana decide that this is a gutter generation? Should the people on the ground decide that it is the government's job to stop paper leaks? Or should politicians decide what young India should be all about? This is a classic case. There are those who call it the gutter generations. Others are saying that they are going to be the game changers. Well, let's agree on saying time will tell. Thank you so much, Raman Malik. Ria Ahir, thank you so much for all the strength and your words, perspective here on the show. With that, we wrap up Decoding Now.